While they watched her die, he dropped to his knees, not for glory, but because something in his spirit told him, move. The music stopped like a needle scratching off a vinyl. Glass clinked to the floor. Gasps echoed beneath the glitter of chandeliers. Inside the glass house, one of Chicago's most elite rooftop restaurants. Moments earlier, Lauren Cook, Millionaire CEO, flawless in a royal blue gown, had been laughing, the kind of laugh that made people lean in just to be near it. But then she choked. Her eyes widened. She staggered. And just like that, she collapsed. The entire room froze. Executives in black ties and women in diamonds just stood there, watching. No one moved, except Denzel. He dropped his tray, glasses shattered around his feet, and sprinted forward. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Silence. Her lips were turning blue. "She's choking!" Denzel shouted. He dropped to his knees, heart pounding. His hands shook, but he remembered that free CPR class at the community center, the one he took just to impress a girl. He didn't know that training would one day become a lifeline. He tilted her head, started compressions, breath, compressions, breath, and then instinct took over. He sealed his lips over hers, breathing in life, not out of lust, not for praise, but because no one else would move, and he couldn't watch her die. Gasps spread through the room like wildfire. Is he kissing her? Phones came out. Cameras rolled. Judgment filled the air faster than mercy ever could. But Denzel didn't stop. Then, suddenly, a gasp. Her chest heaved. She coughed violently. She was alive. He sat back, breathing hard, tears filling his eyes. Thank you, Jesus. But the room stayed cold. The applause never came. Security rushed in and yanked him back, step away from the woman. I saved her. He cried. No one listened. The paramedics arrived, wheeling Lauren out. Her eyes open, dazed, weak, but they locked with his. For a second, something passed between them. Not gratitude, not fear, something deeper, something only heaven could understand. But Denzel didn't know yet that the breath he gave would come at a price. Because by sunrise, he wouldn't be known as the man who saved her. He'd be trending as the man who violated her. A predator. A poor black waiter who took advantage. And yet, in the chaos, Denzel whispered the only words that still made sense. God, if I did the right thing, stand with me. Please don't let me walk this alone. Because the storm was just beginning. If you're ready to hear the full story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing how far these stories travel. Because tomorrow, I'll be sharing another one, just as emotional, just as unbelievable, and you definitely don't want to miss it. All right, let's get into it. Denzel had never been the kind of man people noticed. Not on the bus. Not in the restaurants where he served. He was just invisible. He grew up on the south side of Chicago, where police sirens sang people to sleep and dreams rarely lived past 17. His mom, Ruth, raised him on prayer and grit, scrubbing floors in downtown offices that looked like heaven but never welcomed people like her. Now sick and tired, she depended on him. So Denzel worked mornings, nights, any shift he could get. That night at the glass house, he was covering for someone else. Just a favor. He'd even joked to his mom, maybe I'll get a big tip tonight. She laughed and prayed over him, like always. He never imagined his act of saving someone would come back as a curse. By sunrise, the world had made its judgment. Waiter assaults CEO during gala. 10 seconds of blurry footage. No context. Just Denzel leaning over Lauren, giving her breath, and the internet decided that made him a predator. Comments poured in like acid. Creepy. He took advantage. She didn't give consent. His phone buzzed nonstop. Then came the call from his boss. You're fired, Denzel. Effective immediately. He stood in the kitchen, stunned. But I saved her life. It's about the brand. They said, you should have waited for medical help. Click. Outside, neighbors crossed the street when they saw him. Even Mrs. Harris, who once called him her sweet summer boy, wouldn't meet his eyes. Kids pointed. Bus drivers looked right through him. By evening, he had $32 to his name and one bottle of medicine left for his mom. Meanwhile, in a quiet hospital suite, Lauren stirred beneath silk blankets. Machines beeped softly. She blinked at the ceiling. "What happened?" she asked. Her assistant, Harper, answered gently. "You collapsed. You're okay now." Lauren frowned. "Someone saved me. A man." Harper hesitated. "It's complicated. A waiter. Some footage leaked. The story's messy." Lauren's voice sharpened. "He saved me, didn't he?" Harper didn't answer. That night, Denzel sat on the edge of his bed. The TV showed Lauren's face, smiling and alive. No mention of him. No thank you. Just headlines that cut like blades. His mother wheeled in slowly, wrapping a shawl around her thin shoulders. "Baby, don't let them break you," she said. He tried to smile. "I'll be fine, Ma." But he wasn't. He scrolled his phone and stopped on her contact. Lauren Cook, Galanite. His thumb hovered, then fell away. He couldn't call. He didn't even know what he'd say. Across the city, Lauren stood at her window, heart aching in a way she couldn't explain. "Find his name," she said to Harper. "I want to know who he is." The elevator opened with a soft chime, spilling city light into Lauren Cook's glass-walled office. But inside it was quiet, too quiet. She hadn't spoken to anyone all day. Not Harper, not her board, not the PR team begging her to let it die. But she couldn't, not when her dreams were haunted by a voice. "She's dying." Not a paramedic's voice. His, the man they tried to erase. She stared at the folder on her desk. Internal security footage, the red tab read. Her hands shook as she peeled it open. Her PR team had warned her, "Don't watch it. What's done is done." But her heart told her different. So she clicked play. The video opened on laughter. A glittering ballroom. She saw herself smiling, living. Then, the moment everything shifted, her laugh turned into a choking fit. Her hand flew to her throat. Her body dropped. And no one moved. No one except him. Denzel. She watched him drop his tray, glass exploding like tiny stars on the marble. He rushed forward, ignoring the guards yelling. His hands moved with urgency, not hesitation. He dropped to his knees, began CPR. Then, a security guard struck him. Lauren gasped aloud. But Denzel didn't stop. Blood on his cheek, tears in his eyes. He kept going. Compressions, breath, compressions, breath, until finally she breathed. And still they dragged him away. The video ended. The screen went black. No applause. No thank you. Just silence. Lauren sat frozen, her reflection staring back. Pale, shaken, and ashamed. "He saved me," she whispered. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Her chest ached, not from trauma, but from truth. A man had saved her life and was now being destroyed for it. A knock pulled her back. Harper stepped in. The board's calling again. Lauren turned the laptop toward her. "Watch this." Harper gasped as the scene unfolded. "They hit him while he was helping you." "They edited the footage," Lauren said, voice trembling. "They cut out the truth." She walked to the window, staring at the skyline, beautiful and blind. How many people have we ruined with silence? Harper stayed quiet. "Find him," Lauren said. "Ma'am." His name, his file, his address. "I need to know everything." Harper hesitated. It could be risky. Lauren didn't blink. Not doing something, that's the real risk. Minutes later, Harper returned with the file. Lauren flipped through it. Terminated. No severance. Blacklisted. Labeled aggressive. Her voice cracked. They erased him. She stood at the window again, whispering toward the dark, broken city. "God, help me fix this." And for the first time since she collapsed, Lauren Cook didn't feel helpless. She felt called. Rain poured over Chicago like it had something to say. It tapped the windows, soaked the sidewalks, and filled every crack in the pavement. The same way life had found its way into every corner of Denzel's broken world. He stood barefoot in greasy dishwater, scrubbing pans behind a South Side diner. The smell of fried food and bleach clung to him like shame. His hands, once smooth and steady, were cracked and swollen. Above him, the evening news played on a busted TV. Lauren Cook announces a new corporate initiative. He turned away before the name finished. Her face was everywhere, flawless, powerful, untouchable. She'd moved on. He hadn't. Read, the cook barked. Dishes don't clean themselves. Yeah, Denzel muttered, scrubbing harder. Later, the diner emptied. The floor was sticky, the counter cold. A voicemail blinked on his phone. Another reminder his mother's medicine bill was past due. He had $23 to his name. He glanced at his reflection in the kitchen window. Hollow eyes, bruised soul. He barely recognized a man looking back. Outside, thunder rolled. He threw on his jacket, thin and soaked before he even reached the sidewalk. Then a black car pulled up across the street. A woman stepped out, heels clicking through puddles, umbrellas shielding her from the downpour. Denzel's breath caught. Lauren Cook. She looked like a ghost from a richer world, polished, perfect, and completely out of place. You shouldn't be here, Denzel said as she crossed the street. I had to come. Why? His voice cracked. To finish what your company started? She didn't flinch. To make it right. She handed him a sealed envelope. Inside, a signed retraction, an official apology. Mr. Denzel Reed acted heroically, all accusations withdrawn. His name cleared, but it didn't feel like freedom. You think this fixes it? He asked, voice low. I was erased. I know, Lauren said softly. I watched the full footage. You saved me and we destroyed you. She handed him another envelope. I want you to work for me as my personal safety advisor. He laughed bitterly. You trust me now? I do, she said. You saw what no one else did. You acted when everyone froze. That kind of courage. I need that. For a moment, neither spoke. The rain slowed, leaving behind only the sound of passing cars and distant thunder. Denzel looked down at the letter again. His name, no longer followed by shame. He wasn't sure he believed in second chances. Not in this city. But he still believed in God, and maybe, just maybe, this was mercy in motion. I'll think about it, he said. Lauren nodded. I'll be waiting. Later, as they sat quietly in the back of the black car, the city lights flickered outside like tiny prayers. You saved my life, Lauren whispered. Now I want to help restore yours. Denzel looked out the window, heart still aching but a little less heavy. When Denzel walked into the Cook Group headquarters for the first time, it felt like stepping into another world, one not built for men like him. Everything gleamed, glass walls, marble floors. The city stretched out in gold and silver through the windows. He could see his reflection in the floor, same old jacket, same tired eyes. He didn't belong here, and everyone knew it. Receptionist paused. Conversation stopped. One voice whispered as the elevator doors closed behind him. That's him, the waiter she kissed. Lauren was waiting on the top floor, not behind her desk, but by the window, hands folded. She looked different now. Softer, still sharp but not cold. Morning, she said. He nodded. Your driver's quiet. So are you. A small smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. He didn't return it. The view outside made his chest ache. So far from where he came from the cracked sidewalks that taught him survival. Lauren followed his gaze. It's strange up here, isn't it? Feels fake, he murmured. She didn't argue. All afternoon, the whispers continued, behind glass walls and under breath. Why is he here? What's she doing? He's a risk. But Denzel didn't flinch. He learned fast. He noticed exits no one else did. Saw blind spots in security layouts, heard tones in people's voices that others missed. The guards called him sharp. Lauren already knew that. They worked late, reviewed threats, scanned floor plans. Sometimes they talked about more than work. He told her about his mother, her faith, her strength. Lauren spoke of her father, powerful, distant, buried too early. They weren't just boss and employee. Not anymore. Something real was building in the silence between them. But the world outside that silence had its own agenda. At a charity gala, they entered together. The room buzzed. Whispers again. Her hero or her scandal? Lauren didn't flinch. Denzel stayed close, alert. Later, on the terrace, he handed her water. You don't drink, he said. She smiled. You remember. I remember everything. Their eyes met, not with romance, but something even rarer, understanding. But peace doesn't last in a world hungry for headlines. A reporter cornered them near the exit. Ms. Cook, is keeping him around your way of cleaning up the scandal? Lauren froze. Is this gratitude, guilt, or something more? Denzel stepped forward. That kiss saved her life. Silence hit like a storm. Lauren looked at him, eyes burning, then turned to the reporter. That man is the reason I'm alive. And if that offends you, maybe ask yourself why. They walked off side by side. In the car, rain streaked the windows again. Neither of them spoke until Lauren whispered, You didn't have to defend me. Denzel's voice was calm. I wasn't offending you. I was defending the truth. She looked over. The city lights danced across his face. He didn't need power or praise. He carried something stronger, conviction. And deep down, Lauren knew what started between them tonight would change everything. It started with one photo. Lauren Cook, Denzel Reed, on the balcony, her hand on his arm, his head tilted mid-sentence. No kiss, no romance, just timing. But the camera angle twisted it into something else. By morning, the caption was everywhere. CEO involved with disgraced waiter. The internet exploded. By noon, investors panicked. By nightfall, the board demanded answers. And everything Lauren had built began to shake. Again, inside the Cook Group, the photo was projected across the boardroom wall like evidence in a trial. 12 silent faces stared at it. You should have kept your distance, one man said. This isn't about rumors anymore, another added. It's about control. Lauren stared at the image. It's not what it looks like. No one cares, someone else snapped. They see what they want to see. After the meeting, no one looked her in the eye. In her office, the rain tapped against the windows like it had the night. Denzel took the job. Harper entered quietly. They want him gone. Tonight. Lauren didn't blink. Of course they do. They're also questioning your role as CEO. Lauren gave a bitter laugh. Because I stood by the man who saved me? Harper didn't answer. She didn't have to. Downstairs, Denzel was already packing. His tiny office felt even smaller now. One bag, a photo of his mom, the letter that cleared his name. It all fit too easily. He'd seen the photo. He knew the game. The door opened. You're leaving, Lauren said. He didn't turn. That's what they want. I don't care what they want. You should. You have more to lose. I have to live with myself. He looked up tired. You can't fight them all. I can fight for what's right. And what if they take everything? She stepped closer. Then at least I'll know I stood for something. For a moment, nothing moved. Then Denzel whispered, You don't understand how this world works. Then teach me, she said. That night, she made her choice. No scripts, no PR team. Just a camera, a quiet room, and the truth. She looked straight into the lens. My name is Lauren Cook. And the man you judged, Denzel Reed, saved my life. We let a lie ruin him. I let it happen, but I won't be silent anymore. The confession went viral. Hashtag justice for Denzel. Hashtag Lauren Cook truth. The world flipped. Apologies. Rage. Shock. Some cheered. Others turned colder. The board called an emergency vote. Denzel watched it from home, her voice trembling through the screen. When she said his name, something broke open inside him. Not pride, not relief, breath. The next morning, the city wasn't the same. Reporters swarmed. Protesters screamed. The truth had shattered the silence. Inside her office, Lauren sat at a window, coffee untouched. Denzel entered quietly. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. They'll come for you. They already have. He sat beside her. What now? She looked at him. Now we face it. Together. The storm hadn't passed. But for the first time, they weren't facing it alone. The morning after the storm, the city felt still. Not broken. Not loud. Just different. After Lauren's confession aired, the headlines changed. So did the tone. People weren't shouting anymore. They were listening, asking questions, wanting change. And from that quiet, something new was born. The Second Breath Foundation. Lauren named it. She slid the paper across her glass desk toward Denzel, her hands still trembling from the fight that nearly cost him everything. Because that's what you gave me, she said. A second breath. Denzel stared at the words. It felt big. Too big. You don't have to put my name on it. I'm not, she said gently. I'm putting your purpose on it. In weeks, it grew from an idea to a mission. They trained overlooked people, ex-cons, jobless teens, single moms, in CPR and first aid, then helped them find real jobs. In schools, hospitals, community centers. Denzel became the face of it. The man once erased now stood on stages, sharing his story, not with pride, but with honesty. The first time, he was terrified. But when he saw the kids in that Southside gym, he saw himself. Sometimes, he told them, we think helping isn't our job. I thought that too, until the day I didn't. And someone lived. Applause didn't heal the wounds, but it helped the scars fade. Lauren watched from the back, quiet and proud. She had stepped down as CEO of the Cook Group, let go of the empire, let go of fear, and finally, for once in her life, she was building something that mattered, but peace never lasts. One night, Harper burst into her office. It's back, she whispered, holding up a tablet. Lauren looked down at the screen. The edited footage. The old lie. The truth they won't tell you. Unseen footage of Lauren Cook and her waiter. The internet erupted. Sponsors pulled out. Donations stopped. The man behind it? Charles Denton. An old board member with money, bitterness, and a grudge. Lauren's heart burned. He wants to ruin us, she said. Denzel stood at her door, already knowing. Maybe he already has. You don't believe that, she said. He looked down. Every time I'm seen with you, you lose something. Not everything, she replied. Not what matters. He stepped back. Maybe I should go. She moved toward him. And do what? Let them win. He didn't answer. But the next morning, they stood side by side again in front of full community hall. Lauren spoke first. You've seen the headlines. But they don't tell you this. That man didn't just save my life. He built a place where others can save theirs. The room clapped, then stood. One voice became many. After, as they stepped into the rain, Lauren held the umbrella over both of them. Denzel glanced at her. You really think they'll remember me? Lauren's eyes softened. I don't think, she said. I know. And in that quiet, beneath heaven's steady rain, something holy stirred. This wasn't the end. It was only the next breath. The storm finally broke. For days, headlines had turned savage. The old footage played again and again. Talk shows called Lauren reckless, emotional, unfit. Behind it all was Charles Denton, the investor Lauren once stood up to. Now, he was back to finish what he started. By Friday, she was summoned to the boardroom, the same room where her career had been built. Now it would be buried. Lauren stood at the head of the table. Calm, still, her silence spoke louder than Denton's arrogance. You become a liability, he said, smirking. The board has lost faith. This foundation has cost us too much. You mean saving lives has cost you too much, she replied. He leaned back, smug. You were a CO, not a savior. When the vote was called, Lauren didn't resist. She stood, heart steady. You're right. I'm no longer your CO. She reached for the company's live stream mic. To everyone watching, she said, voice strong, I'm stepping down. But this isn't failure. It's freedom. She paused. I'm pledging every share I own in the Cook Group to fund the Second Breath Foundation, so no one has erased the way we tried to erase Denzel Reed. Gasps followed. Denton's smile disappeared. She walked out with her head high. Outside, cameras swarmed. Questions shouted. She said nothing. But inside, she was at peace. At the foundation, Denzel looked up as she entered. You did it, he said. I walked away from something that stopped mattering, she said, so I could fight for something that does. Later that night, Denzel stood in Denton's office. No anger, just truth. He dropped a folder on the desk. Emails, payments, leaked lies. We know it was you. Denton froze. You think anyone will believe you? They already do. Denton laughed. Truth doesn't win in this world. Denzel's voice was calm. It does when people stop being afraid of it. And he left, not in rage, but with peace. Back at the foundation, Lauren stood on the rooftop, staring at the lights. Denzel joined her, quiet beside her. You saw him, she said. He nodded. He won't hurt you again. She looked at him. What did you do? I told the truth. They stood there, shoulder to shoulder, wind in their hair. Then Denzel spoke, his voice low. The first time I breathed life into you, I didn't know you'd breathe life into me. Lauren's breath caught. The moment stood still. You didn't just save me, she whispered. You made me want to live differently. Denzel stepped closer. If we cross this line, there's no going back. She met his eyes. Then maybe it's time we stop looking back. By morning, Denton's emails were public. His empire crumbled. And for once, the headlines weren't twisted. They showed a single image. Lauren and Denzel, standing side by side. No scandal. No lies. Just two people who'd chosen truth over fear. And this time, redemption won. Chicago hadn't changed. The skyline still shimmered. The streets still buzzed. But for Denzel and Lauren, the city didn't look like power anymore. It looked like possibility. Months had passed since the firestorm faded, and from the ashes, something real had taken root. The Second Breath Foundation had become a movement. What began in one boardroom now lived in hospitals, schools, and community centers across 20 states. Billboards read, "Learn to save a life. Believe in a second breath." People once overlooked, janitors, waiters, single moms, veterans, now led classes in CPR and first aid, teaching others how to give life and how to reclaim their own. At headquarters, the rooms pulsed with purpose. Volunteers training, calls pouring in, kids walking out with certificates and new confidence. Denzel moved through it all each morning. He no longer felt like a guest in success. He had built something his. He'd traded suits for rolled sleeves and stages for real stories. And when he spoke, people listened not because he was famous, but because he was proof. Lauren had changed too. She no longer stood behind glass walls. She stood behind real people. Her voice now carried into policy meetings, healthcare forums, school boards. She didn't chase power anymore. She used it. And when old voices whispered, "You've fallen," she smiled, because she'd finally landed somewhere worth standing. The night of the National Humanitarian Awards, Chicago glowed. Inside out of the pavilion, chandeliers sparkled over rows of leaders, activists, and changemakers. Lauren arrived first. Simple, elegant. Denzel followed, dressed in black, calm and grounded. Their eyes met across the room. A quiet smile passed between them. When their names were announced, the room rose to its feet. For turning pain into purpose, the host said, "We honor the Second Breath Foundation, founded by Lauren Cook and Denzel Reed." On stage, Lauren spoke first. "We didn't create this foundation to fix the world. We created it to prove compassion never broke. It just needed room to breathe." Then Denzel stepped forward. His voice was warm and steady. "I used to think saving a life was about giving someone a second chance," he said. "Now I know it gives you one too." Applause swelled, gentle and genuine. Then a reporter asked, "Mr. Reed, after everything, do you regret that kiss?" The room held its breath. Denzel didn't flinch. "That wasn't a kiss," he said. He looked at Lauren. It was a heartbeat. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was holy. Lauren stepped beside him, and it changed everything. Later, they slipped out a side door, away from the lights. The lake breeze brushed their faces as they walked together under a quiet sky. Do you ever think about that night? Lauren asked. Every time I breathe, he said. She smiled. So what now? Denzel looked out at the skyline. Now we start again, from the beginning of everything. Together? Always. And as they walked into the night, no longer running, just living, the city moved with them, under the Chicago sky. The city breathed with them, alive, forgiven, and forever changed.
If this story touched you, tell me what you think in the comments. I love reading your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe for more emotional stories about love, pain, and second chances. Trust me, the next story is even deeper.